Paul McCartney is a partner of Netanyahu. This is obvious by the appearance of Gail Burstyn on Robert Fripp's God Save the Queen 1979. I already knew from the mechanics of the way Lennon Sundini operated among Seattle queers that attempting to help Gaza would be thankless, that they would only turn on me in the end. Superficially, this is because of the collective women consciousness that Gail Burstyn represented and the alliance that was built by Yoko Ono behind her. More realistically, it comes from bribery and corruption of the sort that Hollywood makes good on in many casinos and underworlds. We find that among Gail Burstyn's cooperators was Native American Sherman Alexie of Seattle. Peter Gabriel and Yoko Ono sold the idea with David Geffen and Barack Obama that I symbolized the hated, sheltered white. They deafened me. That didn't matter. They deafened me almost like the girl in James Michener's Texas, who had her nose cut off by the Indians, and Donald Trump was behind them, payrolling them and saying, "So what? Cut off his nose. They castrated me." I mean, the sadism of Seattle was no less shocking than what's being done in Gaza. It was intimate, it was deviant, it was unconstitutional, and it was widely supported because of Lennon Sundini. Of course, I knew that. So why did I go along with the TikTok war to the point of jeopardizing my small budget by making, for me, relatively sizable donations to poets in Gaza? Well, because I was raised in a Jewish Holocaust survivor community. Like it or not, I was aware of the civil rights movement and have a brother who's Jewish. So I was deeply sentimentally attached to the Jewish community and heard about the Holocaust and understood the lessons. Even if this played against Sam was show business repurposing media with the help of Brian Eno for Lennon Sundini, I felt it was important to make a stand for the children of Gaza. The children are not to blame. It is an eternal crime that they were buried under rubble. Nosferatu, of course, has his darlings in places like Seattle. He has people who agree to disagree with him with a wink, like Norm Finkelstein and Sherman Alexie and the Black Panther Party, like Cornel West, oh brother Zionist. And they've terrorized me by saying, why shouldn't we castrate you? Why shouldn't we put bacteria in your eyes? Why shouldn't we this? Why shouldn't we that? After all, you're one of those people who believes in karma and God and all of that. And so why shouldn't we be sadists to the max? Not because of what you are, but because we want what we want to make of you. And they call it collectivism. And Donald Trump is bankrolling it. So forget about the police department. They will never, ever admit that there's evidence that Lennon Houdini and that Ronald Reagan was behind the assassination of JFK, that they were partners, Reagan and Lennon, in the AIDS attack. And that's how Yoko Ono positioned herself so maliciously towards me at the University of Pittsburgh. Forget about it. People who are street poets, forget about it. People who are skateboard enthusiasts, forget about it. The people at the community college, forget about it. The people who separated me from Def Genie and had her raped, forget about it. Just forget about it. The NAACP is never going to do anything but gaslight guerrilla theater in favor of torturing and murdering somebody, because it's their idea of hookonymic pretzel logic. nobody's special, and the ancestors need a sacrifice. It's like Mayan civilization for them. And they rip and murdered Shannon Harp just like that. They actually called a white creep, a really crazed white creep, rip and murdering a white girl. Racial equity. They actually communicated that because they're criminally insane. They're enthusiasts for sacrificial murder. Who they are factually are the administration of sound mental health, the administration of the University of Washington, the medical establishment, the police administration, the government, Bob Ferguson, the governor. Factually, the shop owners around here, factually they're the administration of Seattle Central Community College. That's who the people are factually who get away with singling out and deafening and torturing as a child a traumatized white child, making him deaf, and then haunting constantly throughout his entire lifespan to lead him to a destroyed life so Sherman Alexie can pick scabs at him and say that we want to take away his eyes in conformance with Gail Burston's script. That's the government of the United States. That's the people of the United States, democracy speaking. And there's no one willing to second guess it. No one. Yeah, not an ex-girlfriend, not somebody in my family, not a counselor in community life resources, not a poet, not a skateboard coffee shop, not a magazine, not a fellow protester of Gaza, not the one person who stood up for me in Pittsburgh was Jeannie, and she was raped by them, and she's still dependent on them. It's like the Gaza Humanitarian Fund, the lunch program is. They just gaslight guerrilla theater at you constantly, at me, constantly. Gaslight guerrilla theater after gaslight guerrilla theater after gaslight guerrilla theater after gaslight guerrilla theater. And it's brazen. They had somebody come over today who was announced by another person named Gabriel. And so that's not going to have the desired effect of making me aware that I'm still in muck mouse chain of gas like guerrilla theater. I wrote to a federal judge here and asked them to establish a mandamus that they were not to keep poisoning me or torturing me or murdering me. He said, well, you're free to talk about it. But no mandamus. And that's not going to encourage them. And it's not like there aren't people who could tell them to stop it. Oh, if you stop it, we'll be offended. If you tell us to stop it, we're supposed to arrive at that decision by ourselves. The people who released AIDS, helped John Lennon pull his Houdini, and murdered Shannon Harps are going to arrive at the decision by themselves that they're not going to fulfill their mission, which is to sacrifice the queer bait. For Brian Eno and Yoko Ono's toot at the dinner party. They went a toot at the dinner party, like John Lennon, who you've insulted now for the last time, queer ball.